So hi everyone. So today we are going to see about the Linux command. So it is a utility available in Linux operating system. So mostly perform the basic and advanced operation using the Linux command. So first we can see about the date command. So the date command used to display the system date and time. Now the second command is who am I? So it will display the user of the current user. So whenever you log in the machine, if you want to know the username of the particular user, you can execute the command who am I. Then this the pwd command. So it is used for the present working directory or print working directory. If you execute, you know the exact path where you are in. Then this the cd command is normally everyone know, so it is used for the change directory. For you want to move some directory from root file system or some other file system, you can execute the path in front of the cd command. Then this cd double dot, so if you give the cd double dot, then you can navigate to up one of the directory. You can go back of the one particular directory, you can use cd double dot command. So the clear the command used for the clear the terminal screen. And then this one of the major command is touch. So it is used for create and change the modifying the file timestamp. So we will check this command later in detail. So then this cat command. So cat command, it reads data from the file and give the content. So if you want to open the file content, you can execute the command cat and the file name. You can list out the content of the file. Then the echo is used to display the line of the string, or else if you want to write something to the particular file, you can use the echo content, then parameter, then give the file name, it will write in the file. For example, if I have written something using echo command, then I have listed out. The same is for the Vim also one of the text editor. It is advanced version of EA. So for Vim you have a lot of inter command is there. For example, if you go into the Vim editor, you can do a lot of things. So for example, if you open the Vim editor, if you want to insert some line into the particular file, you have to give escape plus I and then type something. If you want to copy escape, then pp on the particular line, then if you do escape /yy, then it is copy. Then if you give p, then it will be pasted. So we will cover the detailed section about vi. So I'm just giving some example only. For example, if you search some the string, or if you want to go to the particular line number, end of the line, you can put $, then you go to the end of the line. If you give number 1, then you go to the first line of this file. If you want to 100, you can put escape colon 100, it will come to the 100th line. For example, if you want to search some content, you can put slash and enter the command, enter the content. So it is listed the content. For example, if you search something, then if you type n, it will go the next line of the file. So this is used for the log file if you want to search something for the month or something. So mkdir, we don't know, we are working for Linux is completely directory and files. If you want to create some directory, you can give mkdir directory name. For example, if you are creating subdirectory inside the directory, if you give mk directory explicitly, it won't work. For overcome this, we may have to give the parameter -p. So the example given above, so mk directory -p, then it will create the full subdirectory and everything. And then the same is for rm. It is used for remove the file or object. So everyone should careful whenever you are new to Linux, you know what you are doing. So if you execute the command rm file name, then sometime it asks confirmation. If you give rm -rf, then it is a force delete, it won't ask any confirmation. You cannot recover the file. So be careful whenever execute the rm command. Then same for the df command, it used to display the disk space utilized by the file system. For example, if you are a system admin and new to the organization, if you want to, if your system having full space, you want to know which directory utilize, which file system utilizing more space, then you can execute the df-h. There you can check the used space. From there you can understand. The same way, if you want to deeply look into the particular file system or directory, you can use the command du command. So find the disk usage. For example, in this example, I have searched the complete usage of my home directory. So there are also, I'm checking the in each of the file system how much space is using. So if you go to cd/ and enter the command. The same way, the uname is for it to give the kernel and OS related information. Someone asks which operating system you're using, which is the kernel name, which kernel version. So for that you can execute the command uname-a. So CPU info, for example, if you want to which CPU are you using, which how many cores are available. So multiple command is there. So easiest one is that it is available in the proc CPU info, where you can understand how many cores, how many CPU number, which model it is, all those things we can understand. Then the free command is used for the find the memory utilization, the RAM how much is used, and the swap how much is used. Those command we can understand. If you give the free -g, it will give the GB format. Then vmstat, so it is used for the virtual memory stats. So it will give the kernel threads, virtual memory, disk, hypervisor, all those information we can get from there. So another one is, whenever if you want to know the host name or how the host name is defined, then the information is available in the etc host. The same host name, it is listed in the host name command. If you want to look the host name particular IP address, you can give host name -i. So if you open the file cat etc host, there you get the complete set of information about how the host name is given, what is the IP version, all those things you can understand. For example, if you are a network admin or system admin, if you want to check the connectivity of the particular server or how the server is reachable or not, for those things you can use the command ping, the IP address. It will list it. If you give the output, then you can understand the system is reachable. For example, I'm giving the ping my local IP as well as google.com. So NS lookup is a useful command getting the information from DNS server. Mostly the web server administrator, email server admin, email lookup, or so those information we need for the DNS detail. For getting those detail, we can give the NS lookup and the domain name. There you can get the DNS information. The same way, the telnet is the command utility. You can check whether the server is connecting to the particular port or not. This is a basic command available in Windows also. So here I am checking the Apache port number 80, whether the web server is connecting to the running or connecting to the particular port or not. So for example, you can give telnet and IP address and the port number. So this is connected. Now you may have to give the escape colon for coming out from the telnet console. So then the netstart command. So netstart command normally used for find that the socket connection for this your machine, how the network socket connection is established. Those things we can use the netstart command connection. So in my system, the netstart is not installed. So I'm installing that netstart packages for getting this output. So let me cover about this in this section itself. This is the basic things. Later we will cover about the intermediate and expert level. So in this whole video I will cover completely about the Linux command only. So the apt get. So this command varying depends upon the operating system for installing the package. So netstart, it lists out the network socket connection I already told. So we can give some parameter for grep the. So I'm checking the port number 80. So it's what are the port sockets are connected, which parameter is connected. All this information you can get from there. So you can, for example, if you want to check some server is connected to the services running or not, those things it will be used. The same way this nmap command. So nmap command is for a security auditing and network exploration. For example, if don't have the firewall enabled, so your machines, all the IPs, all the ports are exposed to the outside. So you want to check whether which are the ports are open. So those things we can identify using the nmap command. So here I have given examples. So now we are looking at the command ls. So ls to view the list of the files and folder in a given directory. So it is a very most important command. Who are using Linux operating system, they have to use this command. So using the ls command, there is various options there. So for example, if you give ls-lrt, it is distribute the latest file it is updated, they will give. Also, if you give ls-al, it will give the hidden files. What are the files is created with the dot in front of the file, that normally called as a hidden file. So if you want to list ls-al, it will list the file. So if you give the ls-lrt, it won't list that the hidden files. So you can see the example. See here. So it is not in the list. So lot of parameters there. So you can list the latest updated file as well as the ascending order, descending order, those things you can check. So whenever if you are in one directory and another directory, if you want to list the particular directory, what are the files inside there, you can give the ls command and the directory name to list the directory inside that particular directory. So you can see the options. So whenever you have time, you can check using man command. The same way the mv. So mv is a motor command. It is for moving the file name or rename the file directly into backup view. So here I am moving the backup directly into backup view. So just execute the mv command, it will automatically move the directory into that file. So one thing you need to check whenever you move the directory, you have to make sure that it will moving into the particular directory or somewhere else. So you be careful whenever you execute this command. So now the command is for the man. So man is displayed to the help, like whenever you have the command, you want to know what is that command, how effectively we can use that particular command. So then we need to use the command man. So I have checked the command for the ls using the man. So like it list the manual page of this particular command. You can see each and every parameters like that. The command what is, so that will give the same line like a manual page description. For example, if you are typing what is the command name, it will give that the some information about the page. So like what is a man, so it will give that what is that exact command, and just line information it will give like that. So whenever if you want to know how the command, what is the description, those things, you can use that command. A similar way you can use that ln. So ln is used for the create the symbolic link. Normally we have two types of link, one is soft link and hard link. So both we can use the same command. So you already know the difference. So hard link in the sense whenever you remove that link file, it won't be removed. But whenever it's the soft link, if you remove the link of this particular file, it will automatically remove. So here I have shown some example. So I have created a soft link of one of the directory and backup from my root file system to another document directory. So if you see that command, you can understand how the link, soft link is created for the particular directory into the directory. So if you want to know the more detail about this ln or thing, you can execute the man command, and what is it will give list some basic information. So using that what is command, we can just know about the brief details. So when a system administrator, you may have to use that various command for the analyze the log files. So most important command, one of the command is tail. So whenever you execute the tail command for the particular file, it is just to give the standard output of the last part of the file. So if you want to verify the some log file for the last 100 lines, so you can execute tail -100 and the file name. The same way you can give number whatever you want. So if you give the tile minus f, then it will give the force log of complete the last output line. So in your live troubleshooting, you are executing some web information and verify the access log. You can execute the tile minus f command, then it will helpful for the analyze the information. So based on the log file, you can understand what is exactly happening in that backend application related information, all those things you can get. So if you are familiar with the tail command, then you just go to man, you will get the all the information how the command will be used. So this is a man command. You can understand how the what are the parameters available in the tail command. So now the same way you can use that view command also. So view also it will be useful for this view the particular file and output of the file. So you can execute the view and command. So for moving into that another line, you will have to execute the tab key and up and down arrow. If you want to come out from the view cell, you have to execute the colon. So more also similar usage command. So you use the file using that more command and file name. So it will list out how many percentage the file is listing out. So if you want to move to next level, then you have to execute the tab button, then you need to go to the next thing. Okay. So now this grep command. So grep is a very important command for search the particular string of the specified file. So we can use that grep command not only that particular file string. We can use that most of other things also. You have to use the pipe operator and the grep command if you want to verify some process is running or not using the ps command. So you may have to understand the grep and egrep. Both are the have some issue, some familiarities there. So for example, the process ps command is run using for review the process. So I told earlier, so you want to grab the Apache process, you can give the process command and the ef parameter and grab the Apache process. Then it will list out what are the processes running there. So you can verify use the process id as well as this service name. So the kill command, it is used to for stop or terminate the particular process. There is various option is there. So you normally use kill -9, that means immediately kill the process without wait for the sub process. So here I have killed that Apache process, but identify the process using ps command and kill the process using that kill command. So now you can see that the Apache process which I have killed and the output of you can find the difference. So same with the ls of also on command, that is the opened pipe process. The files open. So for example, if some system is restarted without some notification, after that system is started, sometime you will get the issue like the address is port is already in use. So this kind of things, normally we want to know the what are the open processes there. So normally you can give that view the for identify the open process, you may have to execute the ls of command. It will help you to list the process. Based upon that, you can take the action for the particular open process. So now I am trying to do some compress example. For example, the tar is one of the utility we use for the compress the file. So whenever you are sending one particular directory, it may have some more number of files. You may get some error information about the bandwidth usages and IO. So for that, normally what we do using the tar command, we have compress the files and directory, and we can send to another machines. You can keep it somewhere for the taking the backup. For example, if the log directory is completely fully occupied, you can execute the tar command, then it will compress that previous directory. So tar is having the various options there. For example, if you want to create the compress files, you may have to use the tar -cv is it. For example, c means compress, v means our browse, Z means gunzip format, and F is the force. So that is the parameter. So I have taken, first of all you need to give the tar.dz of the particular directory, then you have to give the directory name. So now the file is tar. So you want to list out what are the file is already taken in the compress thing. So you may have to execute the command tar minus tvf. It will list what are the files inside the compressed directory. So I have removed that tar.gz output file. Now I am extracting the tar. So you may have to use the option xvf. For compressing you need to use that cv setup. For uncompress you have to use the tar xv setup command. Then it will compress that directory into that particular file. So here in the example you can see that the output tar is that I have compressed. Now it is uncompressed into output format. So now we can see about the command zip. So zip also we normally use in Windows or compress the directory or big large size file. So we may have to use the parameter like -r for the zip directory. So here I am showing some example for removing that output zip files. So like now I am restoring the zip file using that zip parameters. For remove that file you may have to use that unzip. For zip the file you have to use the zip command. So this is about the zip, how to compress the files. So we can see this example here. So the output zip created using that output directory. So you can see how much size is there. Depends upon this compress size, the size is also vary. So comparing to tar, zip is minimal amount of compression. Tar seems to be better one. You can get more output or more reduced size using the tar command. So now we can see the command the ifconfig. Ifconfig normally will list that display the current network configuration information. So in my machine, what is that in IP address, what is that subnet mask, and what is the K to IP, then the frame, the Ethernet having the frame issue. All those things we can see from the config. So if you have the multiple port is enabled, you will get to more number of output. Normally the server side they will have the redundant Ethernet port as well as the wireless port. So all those information you can get from this ifconfig command. So normally ifconfig in Ubuntu you can execute using the root user. If you are executing normal user, you may not get this command output. So here I am trying to log in using SSH. So SSH normally if you want to log in into one of the server, you normally use the command SSH, access it to the one server to another server using encrypted format. So you have to use the SSH and IP address. If you are logging as a root user, then you can blankly use that IP address. If you want to log in as another user, you may have to use the username and @ and the IP address, so that you can able to log into the other server. So for example, if you have some connection between server, maybe the OpenSSH or some other package is not installed. If you get the connection of this server, you can verify whether OpenSSH package is installed or OpenSSL package is installed or not. Otherwise, maybe this firewall something is blocking your access in your local machine. Maybe the IP tables firewalls and network inside some firewall is enabled, then it will be blocked. So for that we may need to enable the port 2020 connectivity from source machine to destination IP. You may have to reach firewall team, or else you have in system level. You are familiar with command prompt, you can execute. So this is one of the important command chmod that is used for the changing the permission of particular directory. So for example, whenever the directory is created and file is created, the default permission is directory is 755. 7 in the 7 in the sense the owner and group and other. So owner can full access and others have the read and execute, and normally group is read and execute, other user have the read access. So for change this permission, you may have to execute the command chmod and the parameter like 754 if you want to. So whatever the parameter you need or required to change, you can use that permission of the file, and symbolically whatever you can change. So if you give the 777, then valid write is enabled, or whoever have the access they can write to the update the file or write the file and write the directory. So we make sure that whenever if you are giving some chmod command, make sure that whether this user really required access or not. So if some confidential data, some important files, you may not give the full permission. You have to restrict the permission. So you can set the immutable also. So with these things we can cover in that expert session. So if you want more information, you can go to man chmod, you will get the more detail. The similar way, there is other command called chmod. This is used for the change the ownership. So whenever the file is having that some certain permission, the owners and group permission is there. For example, the test file is the owner is root and group also root. So I am changing to the owner to minute solution and group is root. So for that you may have to use the command chmod command. So if you give that -r in front of this thing, capital things, that is recursively whenever the directory has multiple files. So you can do that chmod minus capital R command. So in this example, you can see the chmod command, the change the permission of this test for directory. So for more information, you can see chmod command. So there is some examples also given below what method we have followed. So there is multiple way you can use this chmod command. So you can see whichever is comfortable. You know what you are doing, so you can follow the same method. So that's what I told. So if you want to recursively change the entire directory permission, the directory have multiple file and subdirectory, we can put -r and give that particular colon group name, then the file name. That is the basic syntax for changing the ownership of the particular files and directory. So chgrp. So in this example, you want to explicitly change the group name for the particular directory and file instead of using chmod. The same we can done with chmod also. If you want to change the particular file or directory group name, so you can use the chgrp, that is normally called as change the group name. So here I have changed the test for ownership into minute solution to root to minute solution. So this command is a ETH tool. So ETH tool normally we used to find the network interface called speed. So some requirement for find the what is the allocated network card speed. So you want to find out. For that we may have to install the packages ETH tool. So I have executed the command for installing the package. So this normally whenever we require that internet speed of how much IO speed, all those detail we can find from the ETH tool command. So most of the time the system administrator use this command find these details. So for executing this ETH tool, you have to give that you have to give the Ethernet like ETH1 or 2, whatever is mentioned listed there. You need to give the device name. So I have executed the device name. So here you can identify that what is that, how much speed of this network code, all those things we can get it from there. So dual boot, all those things we can get here. So if you give that where is command. So what is ETS tool? That will give that short description about these things. So you can get the network card related information. That is normally you can call as a NIC card, network interface card. Those is you can get. Then also another one command is that where is. So where is this command is to find the location of the source or binary. So for example, if you are installing some packages, you want to know where the exactly it is installed. So you don't know the configuration file, the library file, all those things. You have to use execute using find command or locate command. So find that kind of information, you can easily execute the command where is, then that service name. So you will get all those details. So now I am moving on to the Linux command for the intermediate section. So I have given some advanced command. It will be useful for system administrator for find the things. So here I have two machines. One is that Kali Linux is installed, another one is the Ubuntu. So you can know the know the kernel version, you know already. We have seen last basic section. If you give -a, it will list out the kernel and OS alert information. So I have executed ifconfig command. This also we already looked in last session. So for identify the port number, IP address of this each machine. So I am checking whether these two machines are interconnected. There is communication between connectivity is there. So I am executing the ping command. So I got the response. So now the connection seems to be fine. So now I am trying to do the SCP, like SCP in the sense the secure copy. For example, if you want to copy the file from files or directory from one machine to another Linux box, you may have to execute the SCP command, or the same you can do using WinSCP. If you are in Windows machine, you can install WinSCP. The same operation you can perform. So if you are copying between the terminal, you may have to execute the SCP command, that is encrypted via copy. So I have created one sample directory and sample file in Kali Linux, one of my machine. So I am trying to copy the same directory into the Ubuntu machine in the desktop location. So for that you have to execute the SCP -r, in the sense it will copy all the directory and files. For copying directory, you may have to execute enter the SCP -r command, then the username and IP address, then colon the location of the file where you need to be copied. So I have given that location. Now I need to verify the directory is not there. So I just execute the command. Once you execute the command, you may have to give that user password and user password. So username, user whichever is giving that need to be access to the particular location. For example, if you don't have the access, you will get the permission denied error. So I am copying from 3-minute solution home directory from Kali Linux. The file operation is completed. So you can see the output. So if you execute SCP -rv, then you will get the verbose related information, some detailed output you can get. So the file copy seems to be completed. So it is copied into that desktop directory. So the same file which I have created on another machine, that is copied over there. So you can do whenever I copy from destination to source, you can copy from source to destination. The command syntax may be changed. We can cover it in later. So now I am looking covering for the wget. So that is help to download some file from the internet or some other your local website also. Local in the sense intranet site. For example, if you have some Debian package or some files need to be downloaded from internet and install those things, you can just execute the wget command and the URL name. It is automatically downloaded from the internet. For make sure that you may have to connectivity from your source machine to internet site or whatever you are accessing, the access should be there, because most of the time the port 80 and 443 is allowed. If it is not allowed, you may have to raise the firewall request for download, for open the port between that your machine to that particular package available or the internet which is you are going to download. So here I have downloaded the google.com index page, that is downloaded successfully. So So now we can see the uptime. So uptime is the basic command and also intermediate knowledge also required. The who is in administrator side, they want to know how much time is our system is up, what is the last time it was rebooted. For example, if you are doing some server reboot, some patching or maintenance activity, you can check using uptime command. So there are also load average also display. Then another one command is stop. That top is important command. It will display the current process which is using which is utilizing more resources and the CPU information, how many users is logging, what is the load average, what is the CPU utilization at present. All those pictorial report you can get from top command. So whenever the system usage is high, you can monitor the system performance using the top command. It will give the list of output. So many we give so many parameters we can sort out how this process real time we can monitor. So this is important one for the who is a system administrator intermediate level. They should know about the top command. Now this IAP ticket. So this is normally Debian based and Ubuntu distribution we use IAP ticket. This command used for install, upgrade, search, all those remove, all the option we can use this command for the packages. So if you want to install package, you need to do apt get install. Now you can execute apt install also. That command seems to be modified. So whenever whatever you want to install the packages, you can use the package repository need to be added in the source.list directory. So if you execute the apt get command, it will automatically connect to the binary repository of the package and install automatically. So the various option is there. So whenever you are installing some packages, you can execute the command apt get or apt install and package name. So if you want to upgrade the package, then you can execute apt get upgrade package name. If you want to remove the package, you can execute apt get purge and remove the package name. Sometimes after removing, there's a directory may be execute remove automatically. You can remove manually, sometimes it is required. So the purge will be automatically remove all the directory. So apt get remove to only remove the packages. Sometimes the configuration will everything remains same. So this is one of the useful command. The administrator level you can use it. For Red Hat, the same command we can use yum and rpm, both are similar. So rpm we have some dependency issue. Yum it's updated one. Also the DNF also we are using right now in Red Hat. So now looking into the Debian based only. So the same command for the apt ticket, we can use dpkg. Dpkg is a older command we previously used. Now also it is available. So this also install, remove, build and manage Debian packages. So if you are download the .deb file, so if you want to install the packages, you can do dpkg install and package .deb. So this is command for the list of the packages what are the installed in the present machine. So if you want to grab the particular packages, you can execute dpkg list and grep and package name. You know what is the package installed, what is the version is what are the version is installed. Those things we can identify. So this will helpful for managing the packages dpkg and apt get. So who are using that command line interface, they can use this command for install the packages. So the same way you can using that package manager via GUI. So I am recommend use to terminal. So because that is the learning for all the commands and interfaces. So service allow us to check the service status. Whenever the application something is running, we normally call it as a service only. So whatever the service is installed, it is available in the etc init.t, the run level script it is available. So for stop or start the packages, we normally use the service and package application name and stop or start or status or restart. Those things are available. So for example, if you want to do some changes in configuration level in Apache or MySQL, so after making the changes we may have to stop and restart the services for make the effect. So not like Windows operating system. Whenever if you are installing some patching in Internet Explorer or some other thing, you may have to do some restart or entire operating system. But in our Linux, there is no need for complete OS level restart. We need to restart the particular application. So maybe if you are doing some production based thing, so normally we can use the changes in the testing machine and verify everything is okay, then we will move the changes in the production server. So this will help you to understand that package, the application, how this stopped and start, those things you can understand. So if you are after stopping the services, if you open another terminal tab and tail the log file, there you can understand how the package is stopping and how much type duration it is taken. If they need to kill the backend process, it will automatically and stop the process. Then if you execute the start command, it will automatically start the services. Once the service is executed, we can check the status whether it is really started or not. So you can execute service package application name and status. Yeah, service command we can use for all the services. So it is in that it is init.d, the runload directory. So you can execute all the services using etc init.d, the service name stop or start. Similar way you can use for the service package name, application name, stop or start and restart. Okay. So now we are moving to another command, that is called find. So find is a powerful command where the system administrator, they can manage the files, search the files where these files belongs to. So they want to find the files. For example, they want to know the files which are created more than 1 year ago. So they want to remove those files that is not really required. So those kind of things we can using find using the command find. So here I have set this basic syntax, that is for the I'm searching for all the root directory, find /name, the test, the test directories. What are the things created using the test directory that is I have executed. So the same way we can use so many options is there. This is helpful for you for the day-to-day life for managing the files and parameters. So the similar way we have the other commands also, that is we can call it as a locate. So locate also we can search all the files, but comparing to the locate, the find is a very powerful command. So we can use the XOR arguments, those kind of things we can use. It will find out all the details. Then this locate command for managing those things. We need to install the package mlocate. So we have to use the command ipt get installed mlocate, the package need to be installed. Normally it won't come with Linux by default. We have to install the package manually, but find command comes default with OS itself. So whenever installing the OS, the find command or those things normally coming automatically. So this is that find command. So you need to explore the command, find using that man page, as well as find out some example things for how this find command is used, what is the really required where we need to use this find command. So you can call this find command in a script also. If you execute some you need to be find, you can the script also you can search something. So this is the man page for the find. So you can execute the man find. It will show that what are the various options available for this find command. Those things you can get. So go through it and understand how effectively we can search the command, search the files and directory using the command. So this is we have discussed now as locate. So utility find files. So if I using that command, we can do that. File name, for example, if you want to find the file log, you can execute the command locate file name, locate log, then it will be listed there. So if you give the pipe mode, it will listed by that there is some correct format. So So fdisk, so this is the partition editor. So this is allowed to create, edit and manage partition. This is a very important command. After whenever you creating the operating system, installing operating system, the partition is created. If you want to created installation time itself. So after the installation, if you want to create some logical volume or some standard partition, you may have to use that fdisk command. So if you give the fdisk -l command, it will list the various partition created this operating system. So you can understand that how many partition is created, which are the created using LVM, which are the created as the secondary partition, the logical volume, those things you can understand. For entering into the fdisk console, we have to execute fdisk and device name. So I am executing the device name is SDV or SDA, whatever. So it will move to that fdisk console. So if you enter M, then it will list out all the required parameters available. So if you want to delete the partition, press D and save the partition W and create the partition again. So make sure that if you are doing this command, you have to understand what you are really doing, because if you are delete the partition unnecessarily, if you don't know whether there is the root file system, then entire operating system will be corrupted. You cannot recover the same. So better, if you are not aware about this command, you don't have any requirement for creating something, don't execute this command. Whatever we are creating the disk partition, all the information available in the etcf step. So the etcf step, we have to give the partition for the permanent mounting. Whenever system reboot also you can get. The other command is mount. So mount is used for mounting the external hard disk or inside partition into some directory. The mount is important whenever you are mounting for Windows share from Linux file system. That is like Samba share. You can mount your machine, Linux machine mount command. The same you can use for the NFS, all those things. So here I am some example I am showing here. I have created one boot directory, boot test directory. I am trying to mount the boot disk from local create a boot disk in the boot test directory. So for that you need to go mount device name on the directory. Now it is mounted. So if you create visit into the directory, you will list out what are the files available in the same partition or mount point. It will mounted to the particular path. So if you execute unmount the file, unmount means you want to remove that mount point, you may have to execute the unmount command. So it will unmount the previously mounted device. So directory files or system. So here I am unmounting the directory which I have created now, which I have mounted the boot file system now. So after that, if you cd into that particular directory, you cannot see anything because I have already unmounted. So this is very important file whenever you want to mount external USB or external hard disk, some Samba, NFS or file share, or for example if you want Azure files or S3, those everything you can use this mount command. You can mount the external storage into that your Linux box. So this is very useful command to just go through that man page and understand, find some example, try to mount So this is LSPLK. So it is display the information about the block device and system. So you want to know that the block device, how the block device is allocated for this machine. So you can execute the LSBLK command. It will list out how the blocks device is allocated in the machine. So if in case of necessary for find the list of block devices available in your machine, so you can execute the LSBLK. So it depends upon the requirement you can use. So this is the main page of LSBLK. You can go through it and check how this LSBLK command is using effectively. You can understand the detail. So So this is a no hub. This is also one of the important command. So this is keep the process running even if you are execute the shell also. For example, if you are executing one copy command or one patch script, so if you execute the command whenever if you are exceeded the time limit set by the session in shell prompt, if it is exit, then the command also aborted. So this kind of situation we may have to use some special parameter like no hub. So if you execute the no hub command, the process whatever you are executing that is running in backend. So once that process is completed, then it will exit automatically. You can verify the log using no hub.out command. So here I am just copying one directory. So I had done some error, so you can see the error using that no hub out. If you give that ampersand sign at the end, then it will be done backend. If you get just takes you no hub, then it will open in our single terminal, then we may not know what really happened. So better you can put ampersand sign at the end, and then you can understand using the no hub out whether the script really execute or not. So if you are execute the big patch file or some big data related jobs whatever you are running, so you can execute no hub command for copying large size of data. Then this will be useful for whoever is running the long process command in backend. Then this mail command. So mail, actually this command we need to install some additional package like mail utils. So it will install postfix packages in backend. So if you want to send a mail to locally or internally, you can for the command prompt you can use the mail management command. So here I have not configured properly all the SMTP setup. So I just checking the mail utility how the things are working. So I am just sending the mail to that root user using my main solution. So for example, for using that you can just enter the mail and your username and the host name. So then you can give the subject. After that subject given, you can give the content. Once the content everything is completed, you can execute the control D. Then the mail is triggered from this your local mail server. So if you SMTP properly everything configured, you can send mail to external also from the command prompt. So once you executed, you just enter the mail command to the particular user, and we can verify the log using that var log mail log file. So it will list out whether the mail is triggered or not. So if you see the log, the mail is sent, so their status is sent. So this is the thing. So if you go on the root user and execute the mail, then you can see what are the mails are available in the queue. So actually my virtual machine I had installed the external so sometimes it may get delay. So that is the reason, otherwise it will be executed at a time. So once you execute the command mail, it will list out what are the mails are already received for the user inbox. So whenever if you are logging into the mail, you can see you have new mail in that command prompt. So you can enter the the mail number 2. So this is the test mail I have sent before that. So the mail is received to the root user. Now we can use the strace command. Strace for the tool for debugging purpose. For example, if you are doing some analysis or some program you have executed, you want to trace the system signal, how the things are working in backend, or understand the issue, all those things you can execute using that strace command. So strace system calls and signals. So it will list out how the signals process, what are the process running in back on those things you can understand. So normally the programming side who are executing some jobs, those normally use this command. So for the system administrator side, we can identify the package process ID using strace, how this system calls everything is executed. So we are just given the example for the strace command for the df-h command, how the signals and everything is processed in backend. So most probably you might have whatever command I have given, that is just some of the most frequent commands we are using in day-to-day life. So just familiar with all the command and use your everyday life. Whenever you have the opportunity to use the Linux operating system, you can execute this command. This will help you for moving forward in your career. So just make note of all the command. So some interview point of also you can use this command, will help you to understand how this basic functionality is working. So anyway, I will cover the each and every command very detail, because then it will help for understand more depth. I will try to post video in future also. So this most of the things I have covered about intermediate. So advanced section, will let me take create video and share. So I will make a proper video with exact example and how the things we can work out. So the same way I told, right guys. So you can give that trace the process. You can give the command is trace minus p and the process ID. Yeah, so another one important command is the compare. So whenever we are creating the two files, you want to compare. Yeah, CMP, that command for the comparing the two files. Whenever you create the files, you have the similar kind of content. So you want to compare the files. So we have to execute the CMP and the file name 1 and 2. It will compare two files byte by byte. So we can verify whether two files are identical or not. So I have executed the command, so there you can see the output. So the different bytes, where is that having the different, those things we can compare. So this normally this is useful for the file manipulation. So if you are creating some files, identify the comparison, those things we can use the script or something, the log files which are generating. So those kind of things we can use. So I'm modifying some files or for making some another output. I'm editing the files. So using that echo command. So the similar way you can use this command default. So default also having the same set of feature, or find the difference between the two files. So I have created some script or some version controlling. If we are working two different versions are there, so you want to know the difference, how we can compare. So without opening in two terminal, that is not a standard way. For those approach, we can use this standard command. We can compare using CMP and find the difference using that diff command. So it will helpful for our move the things easier. So this kind of file, just check the command, and if we have any requirement for comparing the two files, those things we can identify. The same way I told a different also, analyze the file by line and show the changes between the two files. This is also very useful file for finding that file related operation. You can do it right away. So this is what I told. As a CMP, you can go through the man page and find the example and various parameters you can find. So you can find the diff also. So compare the files line by line. So you may have to use some argument if required. You can get the argument and all. Then we are seeing to alias. So we replace the one string from cell with another string. So replace in the sense, for example, if you want to use some host name for example Google photos.google.com, you want to redirect into google.com. So those kind of alias settings we can do. So in this example, I am replacing that command, the who am I. So whenever I am executing the who am I command, I will get the which user is logged into the machines. So I have moving this who Hamlet into alias format into the I. Whenever I execute the capital I will get the output of the who Hamlet. So you can I have set up that alias I equal to who Hamlet. So you can execute who am I am getting the output. Same way if I get I also I will get the same output. So this will be useful for some mail configuration of those things. So for remove the alias you can click that analyze and I then it will add remove. So now you can see I command output. So this is the way. This is a one example. So there is so much of usages available related to alias. So you can go through it. So if you want to use some web domain name service alias setup, email name alias setup, those things we can use in the alias command. This will or replace the string into the another format. Now we can check the command sudo in the sense of super user do. So whenever the machine is created with the root user, they will have the full privileges and they can execute all the command. But if you are in the if you are a normal user, so if you want to execute some super privileged user command, so you must have the sudo as permission. So for giving the sudo as, normally we need to edit the files etc sudo as. There you can give the permission for editing the particular file or giving the certain list of command. All those things you can give in the etc sudo as well. So etc sudo is the key file for the operation between the sudo users. So this we cannot give all the access to all the users. So this is very helpful command, just to go through the files and understand how the things are configured. So let me cover more about in other section about expert. So thanks for watching. So see you soon in the next session. Thank you very much. Bye.